Hey, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. If you are someone who found this podcast because I recently started it, so I just want to say that I see you, because the fact that you're here means something in you is genuinely looking for something deeper. You're not just looking for some tips, you're not just looking for a 5-step guide, you're looking for a way to actually feel okay, like in your body, in the here and now, and not just in your mind, right? And that's exactly what we're talking about today. So today's episode is something that I've been wanting to record for a really long time because it's something that I have been personally working on. And honestly, something is changing because of this work for me. So we are talking about today how to feel safe. Not just when life is all going well, not just when everything is under control, but in all the circumstances. Like genuinely in your body, no matter what's happening around you, right? And this might look like a very simple thing, but safety is the most important thing that we're looking for, right? And I'm going to tell you all about it. But first, let's get comfortable, settle in. Maybe you want to grab some coffee, some tea for next 20 minutes uninterrupted. Like just listen to me. And I'm pretty sure like you're gonna grab and have something out of this, I promise. And let's just talk like two people sitting across one another. We are figuring life together. We are figuring life out together, right? So this is how it's supposed to be. Without further ado, let's start. So let us start with something that I think a lot of us experience but almost never talk about. You're in a perfectly fine situation. Nothing bad is happening. Maybe you're at home, maybe you're with people you love, and yet there's this feeling of anxiety, like this undercurrent of something is wrong, even though nothing is wrong. Like, has that happened to you? Because it happens to me, and it used to happen to me a lot, right? So, and that's the thing that nobody tells you, is your brain is not the problem. Your brain is actually doing exactly what it's designed to do. Your brain is just trying to keep you alive. And your nervous system, the part of you that decides whether you're safe or not safe, it's constantly scanning, constantly looking for threats. That's its job, right? That's what it does. But here's the thing. It doesn't always know the difference between an actual threat and something that reminds it of a threat from the past. So maybe when you were growing up, uncertainty meant something bad was about to happen. Or maybe love always came with some kind of tension. Or maybe you learned somewhere along the way that being visible meant being criticized. I don't know, like whatever your experience was. And now your nervous system just files all that data that way, right? It says this pattern equals danger. So maybe you want to write it down right now as I'm speaking it, like this older pattern, it's danger. And every time something even slightly resembles that pattern, it fires. Even if you're completely objectively safe in an environment, this is happening to you. And I'm sure you will agree, like this is all the time happening in you, right? So that's the first thing that I want to tell you, that literally your system is doing its job. There's nothing wrong with it. Just it has some outdated information. And that's the first thing I want you to really hear today. Your nervous system is not your enemy. It's just running old software. Yeah? Coming on to the next part of the video, that why you can't think your way out of it, right? We have heard a lot about positive thinking, positive affirmations, but why don't they work? Now here's when it gets interesting, and also where I think a lot of us get stuck. We try to think our way out of this, right? Out of whatever we are feeling. We try to logic ourselves into feeling safe. And we say to ourselves, okay, there's no actual danger here. I should be fine. And then we wonder why that doesn't work. And I used to do this almost all the time. I would literally sit with myself and list all the reasons why I was okay. And basically, it's called intellectualization, right? And sometimes it helped very little. Definitely it did, but it never went deep enough to actually shift the feeling. And there's a reason for that, because your nervous system doesn't speak the language of logic. That's not what it does. It speaks the language of experience. There's this beautiful body of work called polyvagal theory. I'm sure you would have heard of it. It was developed by a scientist named Dr. Stephen Porges, and I'm so sorry. And basically what it says is our nervous system has 3 states. It has a safe and social state where we feel open and connected and alive. That's the best state, of course. And it has a fight or flight state when we feel anxious or activated or defensive, right? For example, we are in actual threat, in an actual threat experience. So that's when our nervous system gets activated, like it wants to fight or flight. And third, it has a shutdown state where we feel numb or disconnected, or just like plain flat. I have felt this for a very long time. And the thing is, when you are in fight or flight or in shutdown, your brain literally cannot access its full capacity. It narrows down. So it goes into survival mode. The parts of you that can reason, that can be creative, that can connect, they are literally offline when you're experiencing this shutdown. So when you try to think your way through safety while your body is in threat mode, it's like trying to cook a meal while the smoke alarm is going off. You can't really focus because your body is screaming. Yeah, like your body is telling, go handle the alarm first. Go handle the alarm first. This is why so many of us have been told to just think positive. And it just hasn't worked. Really, honestly, it never worked. And it's not because we are not trying hard enough. It's because we have been trying to use the wrong tool. Positive thinking is actually a result of a regulated nervous system. Wow. So positive thinking is actually a result. It's not the source. It's a result of a regulated nervous system. And it's not the cause of the one. So when we feel safe in our bodies, we naturally start to see the world differently. The thoughts shift because the state of our nervous system has shifted, not the other way around. This is the point where I have spent a lot of time on this in my life. And what I'm sharing with you is past 10 years of healing journey. That doesn't work. Positive thinking is not the only thing that works, really. It has not worked with me. So the real work is actually teaching your body what safety feels like, because it has forgotten. Coming on to the next part, what safety actually feels like, what it actually is. So now I want to talk about what safety actually means, because I think we have been giving a really limited idea of it. Most of us think safety is about control. If I cannot control what's happening, if I know the outcome, if I can predict things, if everything goes according to the plan, then I'll feel safe. But that's not safety. That's just anxiety wearing a tighter grip, because you're all the time in a controlled situation. You're a control freak. Real safety is something completely different. Just a moment. So real safety is a felt sense in your body, the entire body. And it feels like this. I can handle whatever comes next. I'm here. I am okay right now. It doesn't mean nothing will ever go wrong. It means you trust yourself to meet whatever life is, putting you through. Whatever is happening in your life, you can just meet it there without feeling unsafe. Okay, so it's about trusting yourself, of course. Trusting yourself to meet life as it's coming to you. Okay, so Deb Dana, and I'm sure you would have heard of her or maybe not, who's one of the most accessible teachers of this nervous system work, says something that I absolutely love. She talks about how safety isn't about removing all the hard things from your life. What has happened to my voice? Okay, it's about creating what she calls an anchor, something stable inside you that you can return to, no matter what's happening on the outside. And that anchor, it's not a thought, it's a body memory. It's like a felt sense that you build over time through experience, through practice, through moments where you showed yourself, I'm here, I've got you. I'm here, I've got myself. I'm here, I've got myself. Whatever happens in life, I'm here with myself. Like that kind of anchor and trust. This is why two people can be in the exact same situation and have completely different experience. One person walks into a social gathering and feels alive and connected. Another person walks into the exact same room and feels like they want to just disappear and not be seen. Like it's the same room, completely different nervous system states. Yeah? So it's not about the room. It's about what's alive within you, what's alive within the person that's walking in. And the beautiful thing is, the thing that gives me so much hope is that this is changeable. Your nervous system is not fixed, it's not rigid. It is incredibly plastic, incredibly alive, and it learns new things all the time. You just have to give it new experience to learn from. Okay, so we are not doing any woo-woo talk here. We are actually wanting to do the work. There's no shortcut, there's no quick fix, really. Okay, so we'll come to the next part, and I think it's very important for you to know this as well. Okay, now here's what I want to bring in, something that I think is often missed in the nervous system conversation. Because yes, we need to work with the body, absolutely, but there's also something else that's keeping the alarm on, and that's actually the belief. See, our nervous system doesn't just respond to physical threat. It responds to the meaning we make of things. And that meaning is shaped by the beliefs we carry. If somewhere deep down you hold a belief like, people will leave me, or I'm too much, or I'm not safe to be seen, your nervous system treats those beliefs as if they are the fact, as if they are absolute truths of the world. And it stays on guard accordingly. So these aren't always beliefs you consciously chose. A lot of them were formed before you even had language. They were formed through experiences, through the way you were looked or at or not looked at, through what was said to you or not said to you. And I mean, they got wired into your system as survival strategies. So the work isn't just to relax your body, and also it's not just to change your thoughts. It's gently to update the belief that your nervous system is holding. And the way we do that is through experience, through the felt proof. This word is very important, the felt proof. Your nervous system needs to experience, not just hear, not just be told, but actually experience moments of, I'm safe, I'm here, things are okay. And slowly over time, as you continue to experience these states like I'm here, things are okay, I'm safe, those experiences become the new evidence for your nervous system. They become the new story, the new beliefs, the new normal. That's why things like somatic practice and paths work and inner child healing, they matter so much. It's all the same work, because they don't just talk about the wound. They give the wounded part a new experience. And that's what actually changes that. That's what actually changes things, right? So now coming to the next part and the final part, I just want to give you some actual things you can do. The practical aspect. I know you've been waiting for this. because I believe deeply in practicality, in things you can take and use in your actual daily life. The first thing is learn to recognize your state. Before you can change anything, you just need to notice. Am I in fight or flight right now? Am I anxious, activated, speeding, or preparing to defend? Or am I in a situation where I'm in shutdown? Like I'm checked out, I'm numb, I'm disconnected. Or I am in the ventral vagal space, that like open, present, and grounded. Okay? Just naming it changes something. Literally saying to yourself, for example, right now, if I'm in fight or flight, just literally telling yourself, I'm in fight or flight right now. It's okay. I'm in fight or flight right now. It activates the observing part of your brain. It's a little bit of, lifeline back to yourself. You just become aware of what's active for you right now. It's very useful. It's really not small. It's a very big step of the process. The second thing, use your body as a doorway. Because your nervous system speaks the language of sensation. So when you notice you're activated, you don't have to fix it immediately. You just need to give your body a cue that says you can slow down. A few things that really work is slow, extended exhales. When you breathe out longer than you breathe in, you literally stimulate the vagus nerve, the part of your nervous system that is responsible for rest and safety. You can try it with me, like just breathe in for the count of 4. And now breathe out to the mouth. Just breathe out longer until all of the air is moved out of your body and there's no air left. And whenever that happens, when you're out of breath, that's the time when you take the breath in. So letting yourself be comfortable in completely emptying out of the breath, right? This is very important, because like this, when you're doing this, you're stimulating the vagus nerve, that part of your nervous system responsible for rest and safety. Try it right now, like after you can pause the video and try it for yourself. Just do 5 counts of it. Breathe in for 4 counts and like breathe out for 6, 8 or 10. Just a few rounds and notice what happens. Another one is physical grounding. Like feel your feet on the ground. And if you're in nature, that's perfect. You can go out and, just be in nature and feel the ground beneath you, the soft grass, and wherever you are, use the space for grounding. If you're in the room, just put your feet on the ground, feel the weight of your body wherever you're sitting, and let yourself be held by the surface beneath you. This sounds so simple, but it is really genuinely powerful, because your nervous system needs to be reminded that you are here in the present. This is the now. The ground is real. Okay, and one more thing you can do is orienting. This is something from somatic experiences, from Peter Levine's work. You just slowly look around the room. Just look around with me right now. Yeah? Like you're actually seeing it. Move your eyes slowly around the room. Let your gaze land on things. Notice the textures of things. Then notice the colors, the quality of light. And this tells your nervous system, I am doing a threat scan and finding nothing here. Absolutely nothing. So your brain is all the time doing a threat scan. So when you do it actually, and you see, there's nothing here that I need to be scared of, right? And the alarm then can come down. The activation of your nervous system can come down when you're physically doing this step. Okay? Now, the third thing is build a daily resource. This is something Deb Dana talks about, and I love it. Creating what's called a glimmer practice. I'm not sure if you've heard of this. Like a glimmer is the opposite of a trigger, right? It's a tiny moment that brings you into warmth, into connection, into softness. The smell of the morning tea, the way light comes through your window, the sound of the rain, like the smell of hot chocolate, the smell of a rose. These are the moments of glimmer. right? And like your nervous system can be trained towards safety the same way it got trained towards fear, through repetition. So if every day you intentionally notice even 2 or 3 moments, I suggest just do 10, but maybe like 5 moments at least that feel safe, that feel warm, and you are literally building a new neural pathways. You're giving yourself system, you're giving your system a new evidence that this world is also beautiful, this moment is also safe, right? So glimmer practice is the third practical step. And the fourth thing, and this is about one on the belief level, is to speak directly to the part of you that is afraid. It's usually the inner child that is afraid, and not from the analytical mind, but from something in you that is steady and warm. You are an adult now, and you can remind yourself that you can be with the little child. If you had your own child, how would you be with that child, right? So you can put your hand on your heart and you can say, like, quietly and gently, something like, I know you're scared. I know you're scared, but I'm here for you. You don't have to deal with this alone. We are okay right now and we'll deal with this together. Yeah, I'm here to support you. I'm here to love you. You're safe. This sounds simple, and it is, but what you're doing is actually giving the scared part of you a co-regulator, which is what that part has always needed. You're being the presence that maybe wasn't there when the wound first was formed. And over time, that part begins to trust when you continue to be with that part. Just every time it's triggered, just being with that part, like how you're with your child if it's triggered. It begins to relax, it begins to let go, and it learns that the world is not unsafe. Okay? Wonderful! So to bring it all together, your nervous system is not broken, it's not against you, it is just running patterns that were written a long time ago in a different reality to protect a version of you that needed protecting. So it needed protecting, right? Protection is so important. But you're here now, and you get to write a new pattern for yourself. You get to create a new pattern. You are a creator. You get to create. I'll talk about this in next video, about creation, creating, creativity. Not through forcing it, not through pushing through fear, but through gentleness, through consistency, through giving yourself experiences, small, real, daily experiences of I'm here, I'm safe, I'm okay, I can trust. And trust starts from within. Like, you have to trust your adult self. Like, your inner child has to trust your adult self. So find ways to be with your inner child. I don't know how you'll do that, but you exactly know what you need to do. Yeah. And that's how safety becomes real. Something your body gets to know. Something your body trusts. Something you can return to again and again, no matter what life brings. And slowly, the world starts to look different, not because the world changed, but because you got enough evidence now that things can also be okay, that you can be okay. Your nervous system is then no longer scanning for threats. It starts to scan for glimmers, like good things, That's the shift. That's what the work is about. And I really hope this was helpful to you. If something here landed for you, I'd really love to hear from you. Really, I would appreciate if you drop a comment, because this is the first podcast format video that I've created. And like, we all want to be acknowledged. We all want to be validated. And I do have a deep need too. So if you found the video helpful, please drop in a comment, or tell me how it felt like, how the practices felt like. And I'd love to hear from you. Come find me, send me a message, let me know. Take care of yourself this week, even in small ways, especially in small ways. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.